Hey everybody, welcome to today's lesson. We have an interesting one for you. Today we're going to look at how savings accounts can actually lose you purchasing power. For the goal of all these videos, I'm going to try to keep it simple for you. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive on in. So to go ahead and show that savings accounts can actually help lose purchasing power, we're going to compare the savings account rate versus the average inflation rate. So let's start with the savings account. So right now, we're going to make the assumption that the average savings account rate is about 0.05%, so pretty low. And essentially, what the savings account interest rate really is the amount of interest percentage you will get on top of the money you have in the bank. On the flip side of the coin, we have the average inflation rate. So we're making, again, the assumption based on past years that the average inflation rate throughout the years has been about 1.40%. So you'll see that's a difference here. And what does inflation rate mean? I know that's probably what many of you are asking. Essentially, that's the increase that you'll see on the goods generally in the market. So for the most part, goods will go up about 1.40% in price per year. So that is what I'm referring to. Now, I know what you're thinking. I just threw a bunch of numbers at you. What does that mean? Essentially, right now, that means you're losing about 1.35% of your purchasing power per year. Essentially, things are getting 1.35% more expensive than the money is earning in interest in your savings account. Theoretically, you are therefore losing purchasing power by having money in a savings account. Now let's go ahead and walk through a hypothetical. Let's say you have $10,000 and the option of putting your money in a savings account or buying some type of good that keeps up with inflation. In scenario one, using the savings account, we're going to keep the assumption that we've been using of the savings rate of 0.05%. In this case, after 10 years, we would end up with $10,050.11. One thing I do want to caveat, I am accounting for compounding when I'm getting that number. Essentially, when I put the 0.05% on top of year one, I account for that when I put the next year's in year two of 0.05% on top of that. Now, keeping the same assumption, again, we bought that good for $10,000, and that's going to keep up with our inflation rate, again, accounting for compounding. And in this case, you're going to end up with $11,491.57. So you can see this gap here on the chart. So essentially what you're seeing is the money value you had for that $10,000 in year 10 is less than the value of the good that you have. So it's the exact same amount of good, but the price of that good has gone up significantly, even though the money you had in your savings account has not gone up that much with interest. And that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying that having your money in a savings account can actually lose you purchasing power. Because that $10,000 in year zero, that could buy that good for $10,000 in year zero, once you get to year 10, if you keep that money in your savings account, you don't have the ability to buy that good anymore. You would have to have another $1,400-ish worth of money to get the same good. And that's why you're actually losing your purchasing power. I do want to caveat, the percentages that we are using, again, those are assumptions. Year over year, these percentages do not stay the same. They will vary. And again, even these numbers here are rounded assumptions as well. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this.
So I know right now you're asking, what can I do to protect myself? How do I protect my money? Well, the real answer is it depends. So what is your money for? How comfortable would you be if you lost all or some of your money? How liquid do you need your money to be? What is your investing experience? These are all going to come and make up the decision for what you're going to do.
And here we're going to see some of the alternatives to having a savings account. So you have money markets, CDs, treasuries, bonds, ETFs, stocks. And the option you should choose is what really makes sense for you. Make sure to do your research. If you have an advisor, go ahead and talk to them. Maybe account for your age. Maybe you're in scenarios where you don't mind having your money locked up for a duration of time for higher interest. So CDs might be your best bet. Maybe you're a little more risky when you put your money in the market. Maybe you want ETFs or stocks. Again, make sure to do your research. Do what makes the most sense for you and the most sense for the money that you have and that liquidity that you want. With all that being said, I hope you found this video both informative and interesting. For more business, finance, accounting related videos, go ahead and make sure to subscribe.